Well, it's nice of you to show up, Sean.
Yeah,
it really
I'm
is.
very late for this podcast.
Yes, we're not in Westchester anymore.
Yeah.
We're down here in New York City. We got some more great comics for you. Comics who are not from New York City.
No,
but
more
now
of our interview series we have going on here.
Yeah.
Here on Two Mic Minimum. This isn't the visual podcast, but we do it just for our guests.
Well, for some context before we actually start, I've been here for an hour so far.
All right.
Because I took the train in as normally Westchester people do, and I was like, okay, Sean's on the train with me, I'm assuming, because we were on the same line. Then Sean texted me being like, oh, I'm driving in, and there's some traffic, so I'll be a little late. I'm like, Sean, what the fuck
I
did
got
you
hit
do?
by like 3 different... All right, so I got a job.
Is it a control thing?
No,
Do you want to be in control?
I was planning on taking
Because
the
you
train.
lost control.
I did lose all control. I planned on taking the train in like with Peter, but then I had a job offer this morning. I did, and then I have another thing I'm going to go to tonight.
Nice.
Something that makes more sense is to drive in.
Sure.
And then my job thing went longer than the guy said it would, so I was a little late that way. I was thinking like, oh, I'll be 10 minutes late. It takes me about 50 minutes to get down to Long Island City. Because like I came here all last year for jobs and stuff. Like I know exactly how to do it. And then for whatever reason today, everyone decided, you know what? I'm just going to go as slow and create as much traffic, and like I just sat on the Triborough for like 25 minutes.
What I'm hearing is that
just
you
masturbating.
that you
Masturbating, so more than once.
Yeah,
Just
no,
like-
I was able to pop off a few.
It's a constant.
Yes.
It's a constant. I mean, that's why I did the car.
No, but
Yeah.
so I've basically been here for an hour speaking to our wonderful guest.
Just burning all the material.
Just literally burning we basically recorded our own podcast here,
Yeah.
but just without the equipment.
I was tempted to be like, hey, just start recording on your phone without me and we'll figure it out later. But
no, that would have been so
it would have been bad.
That would have
He
been no
doesn't
good.
deserve
Could you imagine
this.
showing him to a podcast like, yeah, we're just going to do it off my phone. Just,
Actually, I did a podcast once, and it's out there. Look it
Oh.
up. It's I don't even know what it's called, but he passed around like 5 iPhone 6s, and they all had little like pop filters on the microphones, and
Okay.
we were in a van. And we were all talking into them, and it sounded horrible. Some people had them like on their chest, some people had them in their mouths. It didn't sound good.
That's not
Wait,
the...
didn't Kevin talk about that? I feel like Kevin talked about recording a podcast.
Oh,
in his-
but a lot
like
of people have done it just on their phones. So I should turn
very,
off mine.
very
I'm
popular. But anyway, no, we're here. I should introduce the...
we should just use that third
the
sultry
third
voice we
soul.
have.
Well, also, my name is Peter Clark Deutsch.
My
if you
name's
forgot.
Sean Barry, and this is...
You can see him at the Cleveland Comedy Festival, November 13th through the 16th. Zach Russell.
There it is.
Zach,
I didn't know if I was
we-
going to say my name because you guys said your name.
I know.
So-
We're off.
And
I-
Sean looked at me like, you go now.
Me showing up an hour late is really throwing off our game. We were
I'm sort
This
of
feels like a
exhausted.
normal for you guys, though.
Yeah.
we're not. This is a terrible podcast.
No, it's not a terrible podcast. It's just
It's-
disorganized.
It's poorly run.
It's
poorly run,
disorganized,
yeah.
Poorly run.
But
Because-
that's part of the charm.
Because the way it works is Peter does most of it and then tells me what to do.
Yeah.
And then I throw in.
But
some,
you at least have to be here.
Yeah, my entire job is
key.
just to bring the stuff and just be able to fill in the gaps.
Bring his
Like,
cute
that's
little cheeks here with his cute little jokes.
pretty
Add
much,
that
yeah.
to the mix.
I throw in whatever, just something fucked up to say midway through someone's interesting
Sure.
story.
Right.
And then that's what we do.
and then I have to edit it out.
Yeah, he cuts out all.
Do you guys do a lot of editing?
He does.
I do. Well, so I do most of the editing, and like I'll tell you, for like each episode, I cut like 5 minutes.
Nice.
But that doesn't necessarily always mean that it's because someone says something problematic. It
be
also
boring.
could just-
Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
boring
sometimes
shit.
it's just like boring stuff that goes nowhere.
That's good because
There's
usually I'll
lots
go
of-
on rants that include slurs, but they're also not entertaining. So that's important to get editing.
Yeah,
in
Zach Russell episode. This is why this episode's 20 minutes for you all.
Yeah, sorry about it. It's just the entire
all
episode
of
is just
that.
me explaining why I was late. That's
Yeah.
to me.
there. He really shit on the American Indians for about
Yeah.
30 minutes.
All I'm saying is it's Columbus Day, damn it.
Yeah. All
This is what
tribes
happens when we get a
matter.
Boston comic
Boston.
on. This is our first Boston comic, so
Yeah.
if you're a fucking queer, you better.
Wow.
You know that's
Jesus.
hey.
Yo, Peter,
well, that
you're-
was Peter. I want to make that
Yeah,
clear. That
that's
was
always
Peter.
Peter. He really hates the LGBT
Here's the thing about Boston.
community.
People say it's racist, but as a white guy, I don't think so. I don't think that's true.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I believe that. Well, to be fair though, I don't think it can be racist if there's no other races there.
Right.
Like
It's
that's
true.
like,
Right.
it's just
If it's
Irish
just-
guys insulting the Irish guys who came late to the party. Like that's
It's a bunch of Irish dudes having a small dick contest. It's a lot of that.
A lot of pasty white, red faced people.
But anyway, so yeah, he's from Boston.
Right? Is
Our
you gonna
guests
say that
are-
every time?
yeah,
guess-
yeah.
Yeah, we're here with our guest Will Hunting. If you're just joining us,
Boo. I texted them earlier. Don't use that joke.
Don't use that line.
Don't use
You
that
did
line.
You guys are
We'll-
workshopping
did
Boston
not.
lines.
Yeah,
not.
I'm more of a Departed guy than Good Will Hunting.
I hear you.
both great movies. But anyway, so yeah, first thing I'll ask you, Zach,
Yeah.
is what made you get into comedy?
Well, I started in sketch and improv, so I'm sorry to say this interview's over.
Where was the booze, Sean? I expected you to
I was
boo.
waiting for a boo.
You yell at
Yeah.
me every time I do say that, so I held off
no,
that time.
I mean, sketch is a fine art.
No, sketch is
And,
good. I like sketch.
I mean, I'm a great audience at an improv show. I'll get very high, and then I will laugh and laugh and laugh. And I mean, a great improv show is great. I was never good at improv, but so I did a sketch and improv comedy group in college, where I went to Boston College, and I just kind of walked in on a whim. I was always interested in it. I would listen to when I was going to bed sometimes when I was like in 4th or 5th grade. I'd listen to Jeff Foxworthy tapes
Nice.
on my. It's like a bunch of "You must be a redneck" jokes. You might be a redneck.
Yeah, classic.
Classic. I mean, good joke formula.
No,
He's
no,
the best joke writer of those four.
I like Ron White a little more of them.
Oh, I forgot about Ron White.
Yeah,
that's how much better I consider Ron White. It's not
Yeah,
even in.
he's
the
not
four.
in the college.
Yeah,
college
Ron
college.
White is by far the
But
best.
Foxworthy's like I think
Foxworthy's number 2.
I think they're all objectively fine performers.
Yes.
It's just we all think it's hack.
So I grew up in Maryland, but I started comedy in Boston.
Boston.
So I did my first open mic in 2015 in Timonium, Baltimore. And I really started comedy though in earnest, like actually started going to mics and stuff in Boston in the spring of 2015. So I've been doing it for like 4 years.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're basically around the same
And
here.
when did
too,
you-
But
Did you start after you in Boston after you graduated? Did you start doing?
No,
comedy?
I started in college. I started.
Okay, yeah.
I was a junior in college, so I had 1 year left, and then really the summer I did a lot of mics and stuff. And the scene in Boston is it's like a microcosm of New York. I feel because there's Cambridge, there's the very well educated, and you could say a little more touchy.
the
crowds.
collegey area,
The
right?
I mean,
With
Boston,
Harvard
it's-
and Boston College, BU. That's all kind of the same area.
Leslie.
Yeah.
There's so many. There's so many colleges in Boston. I think it's like the most.
I think it's like 30% of the
Yeah.
city's population.
Yeah,
some,
it
some
is.
20
Like that,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, MIT.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of smarties running around.
Just running around.
They're
Yeah.
so
Somebody
energetic.
call their parents.
They're
Yeah.
full of youth and
Yeah.
jizz and so there's the pockets where it's educated and it's like hipstery, like Jamaica Plain also reminds me a lot of Brooklyn. So there's like the Brooklyn-y scenes in Boston, and then there's also more. It's like you're in the city, just more standard clubs and stuff. But Boston, I think the scene is a lot of independent rooms, especially when I was there.
Nice.
The scene was, in terms of clubs, it was like the Comedy Studio, which is a little more of an alti club, like an alti room. And then you had Nick's Comedy Stop, which is, it's a good club. And then you had Laugh Boston, which is like the one that like touring
I've heard of
comics go
Laugh
through.
Boston. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they've opened now more clubs in Worcester, like Woo Ha Ha. They had Dick Doherty's. They had a few rooms. But the thing about Boston that's interesting to me that when I moved to New York, there's such a talent drain from Boston. So Boston is filled with new people who are like 1 to 4 years in, and then professional comedians. No one there's like a dozen people who are like capable hosts and features who've been doing it for 6 to 8 years. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
everyone who's getting good and getting quite good moves here.
Of course. Like,
It's interesting in Boston because I never saw people in Boston who were only slightly better than me. I would see people who were so much better than me, or the same, or worse, and maybe slightly, but I never saw someone who was like the next level up,
that would make sense.
I saw the great Boston comics like Corey Rodriguez, Orlando Baxter, Kelly McFarland, like Will Noonan. And when I was 2 years in, I was like, I can't even, what I'm doing is different than what they're doing,
Right.
But I'm
Yeah.
moving here. It's cool to see. You see the steps. The number of steps increases just because there's so many more comedians here.
Yeah.
You can see the level of experience. It's
like
like,
here-
this is my next step. Then this one, as opposed to 2 years in, national headliner.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So out of those like dozen comics who are in Boston, why are they still in Boston?
It's a fine question. I think some of them like Boston. It's a beautiful city. I like Boston a lot. It's a nice city.
Never been.
I've
I've actually never been to Boston.
It's really good.
Peter's been like to like his mom's house and then his grandma's house.
And San Antonio.
And San Antonio.
Now,
That's all I've ever.
That's it. Boston. I do like Boston a lot.
It's
as a
like one
city.
of the. It should be one of your first stops if you're trying to do other shows. I mean,
Well,
that's
so
great
I go to
shows.
Maine every summer, but like
You
we
go
never.
to Maine
We
and
never.
you
He
skip
goes-
Boston?
He likes to avoid all the places
We never.
where
We
people
don't. We don't have
exist.
anything. So actually, one of my good friends from high school now lives in Boston, and he actually invited
gotta
me.
stop
He
that.
invited
You're
me
putting
there
a
for
W in the
Halloween
word.
weekend, but I never. You know, I'm
Boston.
busy.
Yeah. It's become. It went from
It's
a now
BWOSTON.
Boston.
Boston.
Yeah. Park the car and have it. Yeah. All right. One of those. We're done.
All right. Well, I'm
we're
glad
back.
we did that.
Wow,
Yeah.
everyone in Boston hates us now.
That's
They already
fine.
did.
They
They already
we're
did.
from New York. They automatically hate us.
Yeah.
That's also something about Boston is that, and I hate to generalize crowds in specific regions, but I do feel like Boston crowds are they're tough. They're just tough eggs to crack because they're all also very funny. Everyone like a Boston
I feel like
person
it's a
is
city of like ball busters.
Yes.
Where it's just like every dude knows how to roast the other dude next to him at all times.
exactly. So if you meet someone from Boston, they're already a certain level of funny. So
Yeah.
like if you're on stage, you're like, "Fucking this guy's not as funny as Vin."
Yeah.
My guy Vin.
Vin?
Oh,
He's my dude.
He's
So
great.
there's a lot of expectation from comedians with the
Yeah,
audience.
and
Essentially,
something that I noticed, which is interesting, I was actually glad that I did probably like 10 mics in Maryland, and then have done a few when I go home to see the difference between like the DC scene and the Boston scene. Boston is like you come with your jokes. All right, I'm hearing jokes. I want to hear funny jokes. All right, and so there's a lot of like stand and deliver comedy where like the jokes are really precise and immaculate jokes. Not a lot of comics bending their knees. You know, not a lot of movement in the comics. But you go to DC and it's so charisma heavy. A lot of people in DC that I would, but not necessarily with the joke density or the joke writing. So
They're going more of personality than
exactly. So
necessarily
I saw a
the
lot of
jokes
guys
itself.
in DC or Baltimore like, I love this guy, but he has nothing to say.
Yeah.
You know, versus in Boston, you're like, I think his words are great, but he's so boring. You know, so New York, it's both.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's been an
definitely.
interesting. Like, you got to have everything.
and I like
here.
that about New York, especially like just like
Yeah.
being able to like like the jokes are important, but also how
You need
how
to-
you deliver them.
you need to
like,
be-
are you
the-
saying stuff that's interesting and engaging? You
Yeah,
know, all that
it's
sort
a
of
lot
stuff.
It's a lot of it's selling yourself here because there's so much talent here that you need to find a way to stand out.
Yeah.
And like you be the best joke writer in the world, but like if you look like a foot, they don't want you.
If you
And-
look like a foot.
Yeah. I don't.
Your fucking foot.
fucking yeah. You foot faced fuck.
Yeah.
And so laughs per minute is very important in Boston, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it's just also just goes back to the thing that everyone's already a little funny there, so you got to keep people's attention.
Yeah.
You know, so if you don't have a high laughs per minute, or if it feels like you're dawdling,
Yeah.
I think people just don't feel like they have the time for it.
Yeah.
I can get and I watched clips of you to prepare for this. I get that sense from your comedy too.
I did not.
Like it's very
I watched your clip. I saw a joke wasteland. I saw a post-apocalyptic District 9 set from
Yeah.
you.
No.
There were 7 minutes, 2 jokes. Yeah, I do try to keep the jokes dense. Definitely. But you also try to keep it loose. So you don't want to like that's something that I've tried to challenge myself with. I guess is trying to be less scripted. I write out every joke like word for word. Even like pauses or something, or like practicing pauses. Like I'm a pretty rehearsed guy, so I try to have it come off obviously not that way. But yeah, I do try to keep, because I feel like if I'm not delivering you like a laugh every 15 to 20 seconds or even quicker, like why are you watching me? You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some comics find it very important, and I think there's an importance to it. Other comics feel like they want to like take you along something, and I appreciate those comics a lot because like,
course.
they risk a
Well,
lot.
like
you know?
I think the prime example I was like Mike Birbiglia, where this is one long trajectory of a
Right.
joke, but yeah, he keeps you engaged for the most part
With the
in it.
punches. He
Yeah,
has
the
punches in there,
Like
yeah.
his punches are kind of pretty like I've never heard him just go back to back jokes of like tagging something, which is fine. Like that's his style. But like I think I hear that actually is a criticism a lot from older comics is that they don't like people doing so much storytelling.
Fuck them,
and
though.
they rather. Well, no, I understand that a little bit
He's
too.
a storyteller.
He's like,
that's what we're learning.
Have you ever seen somebody go on? Well, I taught a little story on me.
no, it's just these new comics doing
Well,
stuff I don't
I
like.
think but wouldn't you just go on stage? You're just telling like my dad used to beat me.
That's funny.
And like, I'll fucking laugh. But like when it's just like a traumatic story, like there's no jokes in it.
Well, of course.
Yeah, I think it's the Hannah Gadsby-ing of it all.
I haven't seen Nanette.
I have. And here's the thing, there's a lot of jokes in it.
There's a lot of jokes in the net. Yeah,
it's just that the last 25 or so kind of just peters out.
Well, it's just because like people are like, "Oh, she's talking about getting raped. That's not funny," you know. And
yeah,
just,
everybody
focus on
tenses
that
up.
clip.
It's a whole thing. Peter thought it was hilarious, the rape part. He was like, "Do it again." See, these are the jokes he always cuts out every time.
That was a good one.
That's a
You got to
funny
keep
joke.
that
I
in.
like
Every time I make
That
it
got
makes him
me.
look bad. Yeah,
That got
when
me.
it gets the when he pops the mic, that's I know it's in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But going back, because we got a little off topic originally, but I was asking about the dozen comics who are still in Boston.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
sorry,
wondering.
yeah.
No, it's fine. We
That's
this
the
some
point
people
about
love-
podcasts. We riff.
Yeah.
Some people.
No, it's fine. It's
I
fine.
love
It's
the
fine.
creative
audience.
tension between you guys.
So
You couldn't be more opposite.
We really
it's like
can't be.
it's like somebody put you through like a blacklight, like inverse machine, and you came out as Sean. That's what it kind of looks
Well,
like.
that's
the way
what
we
makes it-
described it is as Peter's the dork and I'm his bully. Like that's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
It's like I'm like
Yeah.
we're forced to like the teacher's like they need to get along.
Yeah,
so they put us
and
together.
then like when you're on episode 100, you're just gonna bring a gun in and kill you because that's what happens to bullies now. Hey,
Yeah.
bullies aren't safe. Bullies,
No.
I think they're the new victims.
I
Bullies.
think so, man.
Yeah, bullies. They need an advocacy group. The bullies.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
all these kids.
Students for against bullying.
Honestly, dude, if I see a guy that looks like a skittish nerd, I'm more scared of him now than a stereotypical bully.
Oh, 100%.
I feel
He's
that too.
He's like, if I walk in, just going back to middle school, and I'm just like, I'll just take your lunch money and beat you up. The other kid's gonna shoot you,
Yeah.
and then write his name in your blood. Like
Yeah.
that's what he's gonna do.
Especially when you go to an open mic now and you talk to someone who's just like a little more awkward than the already awkward comics,
Sure.
and like they go up and they bomb, and you're like, oh, I think that might have affected him a little too much.
It's like, oh, he's not used to
I'm
this.
not coming to this
Yeah.
mic ever again.
Well, I'm glad I wore my bulletproof vest.
By the way, I'm surprised no open mic has been shot up yet.
Let's
I'm
get off
very
this
sorry.
topic. I know you don't have a ton of
Anyway.
listeners, but I don't want to incentivize the few you have.
Well, no, we're very anti-shooting up
No,
open
you have a
mics.
lot of listeners in Russia. And,
do.
I know all of them have guns, but they
Yeah.
can't get visas.
There's
So
a nice little ocean they need to get
They,
across.
no, they
Yes.
can get visas. It's just
They can?
They have
Yeah.
to get visas, unlike most Europeans.
That's
most
true.
Europeans can come without
Yeah,
a
and
visa.
even then,
but-
like our country, we're
Yeah.
pretty cool at Russian at this point. So,
well,
you know,
people in the government
topical.
are.
Yeah, government. Like,
But anyway,
who
sorry
did you
for
guys
getting off-
vote for?
Gary Johnson and Gary Johnson
Gary, nice.
and Jill
Oh.
Stein.
Yeah, I was for the Gary Johnson Jill Stein ticket.
Yeah.
Every year I write Mitt Romney.
No.
Every year, even off election years, I go in and they're
Yeah, you
like,
go
"What are you
in
doing
and-
at the firehouse?" I'm like, "I'm just here to scribble Mitt Romney in the
You
bathroom."
do look like you're a bastard Mitt Romney. Like
Do
just
I?
a little bit, right? Like I'm
He looks like, he could be
Mitt
one
Romney,
of his
like fucked an Irish lady
he
or
looks
something.
Yes.
He looks like he could be one of his like rich nephews.
Yeah,
like
or
rich
like,
asshole.
Do you have a rich
nephews.
look?
I don't know if you have a rich look.
Because I've thought about this. When trying to make self-deprecating jokes about myself and like I look like. I'm not saying you need those jokes, but I don't know what I look like.
I could say you could
I'm
pull off
so
like a rich
standard white.
You look like the school shooter's friend.
If you're standard white, you can pull off
Like-
rich.
Yeah,
most
yeah,
of the
I
time.
can pull off rich.
yeah,
But I feel like you have to.
if
I
you
don't
put
know.
on a
You either
blazer,
look-
like a nice shirt,
You
it's
either
like,
look rich or you look geeky.
Yeah,
you know, those are like
yeah.
the
yeah,
two.
like throw on a blue shirt and salmon shorts. You're a rich white douche,
Right.
But you throw on glasses and like a shitty scraggly beard nerd.
Is there a way
Yeah.
that I don't have to put on a costume to
No,
do a bit about?
do you not dress up every time you go on stage? I go up as the
I put
Hamburger.
a collared
fucking-
shirt on for this
You
podcast.
dressed up for this
Dressed up
podcast.
for this podcast.
A nice flannel.
It's funny. He was sitting down. He was like ruffling
Yeah,
his
I'm-
shirt
I'm
up a little
trying-
bit.
yeah,
and I'm
making
like,
sure
this
that-
I
guy's
thought about
like-
showing him my Halloween costume to this.
What's your Halloween costume?
I'm
Sacagawea?
I wish. I put on brown face.
Happy Halloween, by the way. when this
Happy
will
Halloween.
release,
Yeah, it's released on Halloween.
Oh, nice.
I'm going as Hopper from Stranger Things season 3.
Okay.
It's just a Hawaiian shirt.
Gonna be the
Nice.
Slender Man again.
You gonna be Slenderman again? That sounds like you've been pigeonholed. Like you've been typecast as Slenderman.
I have, because I'm a tall, skinny white guy. I'm like, this is the best costume I could ever
No, it's-
come
I mean,
up
it's
with
a
for
good
myself.
costume.
So
Yeah.
I'm just
Do you
gonna
do
go,
it well, or do you half-ass it?
I have like a.
I mean,
like
you've done it 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
No, I've only done it once. Before,
Okay.
He
but
came
I was-
in last
yeah.
year wearing it, and he's had blackface on though too to make it full. to make it,
But isn't his face white?
wouldn't you? Yeah, well, that's what he was making a
so
bold
it's like- so
statement.
it's, you know those what are the morph suits?
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
a morph suit. So
Yeah.
it's like you put it all over yourself. I just thought it was
And
the
that-
idea that someone.
What,
put
have you ever gotten a
blackface under his
boner in a
suit.
morph suit? That must stand out real hard.
So that's why I wear like you have to wear like
wear a
2
cup.
pairs of underwear.
No,
so like,
yeah,
if you don't wear it at all,
that bad boy is skin tight.
it is like.
Let me
it
tell you, my
shows.
boy Peter is a Ken doll.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
Yeah, good looking.
Rippling abs, smooth undercarriage.
Yeah.
Holy shit, guys! But anyway, back to my question.
To these,
We have to get
comics.
back to the jokes.
We're always getting back.
No, I'm just saying if there's a lull, we can get back to it. That's how
Yeah.
we do.
You thought that was a lull?
I don't think. I think that was less of a
Thought that
lull.
was a lull, Pete?
What do you want to talk about?
No.
What
Let's talk about it. So,
we-
no, I mean, there's some great comics, and I think they might move to New York eventually. They're very good. These few that are, and I think they're eventually going to move to New York. I think there's 2 strategies when you're moving to New York, because it does seem that all roads for comedy lead to New York or LA. But some people want to do the approach of like, I'm going to have to start over anyway. I might as well move now. And that's kind of what I did. I felt like I was decent enough to move and not just go back to square one. You know what I mean? Like starting at mics and stuff, but being decent at comedy. And then there's some people who want to, get a late night or something, or they want to do JFL. They want to come in hot, so that they can get here and within a few months they're booked, 20 times a month, minimum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they really come up with some plans. So that's some. And then some people just like Boston. Some people have adopted the producer promoter role as well as comic. Like there's some great, very funny producers and that's a little bit of why some of the independent scene flourishes, because Boston is a great place to live. And you can also go to Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire.
I feel like you could just
There's
dominate the entire New England
scene.
there. Yeah,
exactly. So those Will Noonan, Dan Crone, the Kelly McFarlane, these professional comics can make a living just doing the New England circuit, and they can travel if people pay them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can stay there. You can go to Maine, Vermont. There's a whole bunch of states that you can make money in. And then some people just like running shows. Like I used to run a show every weekend at Bill's Bar in Boston in Fenway Park with my friend Rob Pooley.
I think I've actually went there last summer to drink, not to watch a show. But yeah,
it's attached to Lansdowne, which is a very popular bar.
I might have been in Lansdowne. But I
Yeah,
remember
but Bill's Bar is adjacent to it. So go out to Bill's Bar every weekend. Hit up Rob Pooley for booking. I'm kidding. Don't reach out to him. Please don't
blow up his DMs.
Give me for every spot Rob gives you, you need to give me a spot. That's a conversion rate that I've worked out with Rob. No, but I mean Rob is a super funny comic. But he works on videos a lot, and he does he produces the show, and you can make some decent scratch from I call it scratch, not dollars. You can make some decent scratch from running a show, and I mean, yeah, some people are just comfortable in Boston. They just don't want to leave, But I feel like people who really are just going, I want to be a stand-up, move to New York. So that's why there's the big talent drain. So many
It
people.
makes sense,
I don't know
yeah.
if you've met a lot of people recently from Boston, but droves have been moving within the last few months. I think like 10 of my friends have moved,
See, I actually know someone
and
who
6 of my enemies.
I actually know someone who just moved to Boston to start doing stand up.
Who?
Kendra Dawsey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know her,
She
yeah.
just moved there from Connecticut.
Yes,
She seems to be. I don't like. She kind of seems to have been at least asserted herself into the scene somewhat. I don't know. I'm just here getting on shows all the time and stuff.
Yeah.
So shout out to Kendra.
You can get decent
You
stage
can watch
time.
both of us on November 15th at Pace University.
Yeah, how
Hey,
often
nice.
Free
do
plug for
like
myself.
do people kind of like what's like the incubation period for like a new comic in Boston from like open mic to like okay they're doing like someone's showcase like every now and then.
Honestly, like year and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you'll have some wonderkin who are there 6 months in, and they're still a little new, but they're funny enough to get on some shows. I feel like you're getting on shows consistently when you're about a year and a half in, if you're good. And then
Because there's so many, so like people are always looking like for spots to be filled and all that.
I think it's a good supply and demand
Yeah.
level. I mean, obviously the best rise to the top and get the most bookings, but you can be not great and still have a pretty full calendar.
so it's not that saturated, is what you're saying, in terms
It's
of like.
not. I mean, especially now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've
Because they're all moving, they're all. I mean, they're all
I don't want to
moving
start
out.
shitting on
Listen,
people.
you
but I've
just
seen
shit on them.
I've
Name
seen. I'm not going
names.
to name
Say
any
who's,
names.
who's the worst comic you've ever seen.
The word.
We're only going to post this in every Boston comedy Facebook group.
No, I mean, I've seen some lineups though. That's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
Every
plenty of that in New
comedian-
York,
but
too.
every
Yeah.
comedian has that. Where you're like, they've put those people together. That's
Yeah,
the worst
exactly.
idea I've heard.
Yeah.
Everyone has their likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm sure some people see me on a show and they're like, fuck that guy. You know?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
sometimes you just don't jive with an audience. I mean, my first set at White Plains Comedy Club fucking bombed miserably.
That was more
And I
because
was like,
they had 35 comics on in a row, and it was like, all right, no
I
one.
love
that's
those
true.
shows.
I feel like everyone else on that show though was able to handle it at least
Yeah, I know,
a
I
little
did- I-
better.
I did a
than
lot better,
did.
yeah, no, I did better
I'll
than
tell you
you.
who's really good.
Sean's
in
always
Boston.
very happy when he does better than me at a show.
Tiny
How
bit.
could you not be? How could,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to if your friend bombs and you kill and you have.
I've only enjoyed watching Peter bomb one time, and that was in
Yeah.
San Antonio. That's the only time I've ever been like, this makes me happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I do like in Boston that they do. They're all pretty savvy and they get the jokes and stuff. And there's a bit of kind of the Williamsburg Brooklyn effect where you can offend some people, especially if you're in Cambridge or something. But they're smart, and that's really all you. That's the most you can ask for is like that because I did a show in Maine. And boy, it's like
where
I
in
don't even
Maine?
consider it. I won't say specifically, but it was in Maine, and it
What the
was,
fuck did he do?
No. It was just like I was like a surprise headliner. Like I asked for a
Oh.
spot on the show, and then I see as I'm driving up to the show, I check the Facebook event. It's my face,
Oh no.
and if I hadn't have brought a friend, so. He divvied up stage time 10 minutes, 15 minutes to my friend, 25 minutes to me. If I hadn't have brought a friend, I would have done 45 minutes.
Oh,
Unbeknownst to
man.
me. So, and I've done that show a few times, and I'm happy to come back. And but I don't know if I want to do that show again. It's just some of the I don't even think it's bombing if the audience doesn't understand the joke.
Yeah, like that's.
You cannot like the joke. That's fine. You can be offended by the joke. That's fine. You cannot think it's funny. But if you
when
don't
there's- yeah,
understand
yeah.
it, I really struggle
When there's just
because there's nowhere to
indifference.
go.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like if you're like if like
Because they
someone's-
think you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, who the fuck is this
They're
guy?
like, I'm
Yeah.
too dumb to get it, so you're dumb now.
Well,
Yeah.
especially when it's material that like has been proven.
Yeah,
It's
Like,
just
exactly.
Well, like I always
yeah.
find like if you have like a much older crowd and you're talking about young people things, like if I mention Fetty Wap, they're just like, is that a plant? Is that a new shoe?
Fetty Wap.
Fetty
Is that some
Wap.
kind of Italian decoration?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah,
That's such a funny thing to
Fetty
mention
Wap
to
from
an
Italy,
old
or
person.
I haven't heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is that awkward like I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Look in their eyes, like yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll say a line and you're like, oh, I know what kind of show this is going to be.
Also, I mean, also even generational differences aside, like everyone's just different. Like sometimes you'll just have people who don't jive with you.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
speaking
You
about
know?
hating, liking people bomb, I hated this guy killed. This guy killed before me. He was doing puns about muffins and vaginas, destroying. People were getting up, walking out, walking back in, laughing. It was like insane.
Dude, yeah, I mean, I just think about, especially like I've done a lot of club spots here in New York City now, and it's just like every audience is always so much different, and like sometimes you go up with your material that did really well, and then the next night the audience just doesn't really give a shit or they don't really get it, and it's just
What my
it's
least
just a
favorite
struggle.
You know what my least
Yeah.
favorite part of a crowd is? Empathy.
Oh, I hate
My least favorite
empathy.
part.
I get that a lot.
Where the audience cares so much about the people, things, and plants you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
feel bad. They're wondering if you're okay.
Yeah.
I get that a lot because I talk about how I lost a bunch of weight,
Uh-huh.
and they're always like, "Woo!" And then I do a bunch of self-deprecating fat jokes, and like,
They're like, oh, he hates
"Aw."
himself.
That's just like-
You're
I'm
like, yeah, but
yeah, that's
laugh.
the fucking point. I hate myself more if you don't laugh
I
at
mean,
it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why I envy comedians now who have a following, because like when they do a
I'd
show,
say comedians that have a father. Just the way you said it, I was
Well,
like,
that counts me out.
Yeah.
Because I do some dead dad jokes, which I haven't done in New York.
No.
Because
really,
I don't know why, actually. I don't know why.
I think New York could handle it.
I think they could.
all right,
yeah.
this is therapy session now. Let's talk about your father.
Let's do
Uh,
Wait, when did your actually wait?
Your dad died.
No, because I have a funny thing to parlay this off. Well, actually, no. So one of my
it. You know the best
college
part
friends,
of a segue is mentioning that you're doing one.
no, that's a classic interview movie. You say, "Oh, this is a good
I'd like
question."
to parlay
and-
this
Yeah, and then,
into
yeah,
something
yeah.
different.
So my comedian friend from school, his dad died when he was like 12.
Okay.
And he did a show, or no, it wasn't 12. I think it was like when he was like 6 or something.
All right.
The point is,
It's funnier.
the point is, he did a show here in New York City called like My Dead Dad's Sweet 16, and all the comics on the lineup were comics who had dead dads.
That is
Yeah.
not an uncommon premise. I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, man. I've been on some shows where it's like 3 dead dad joke comics in a row.
That is a running theme throughout
Dads be
comedy.
dying, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
daddy
Dads
issues
be
are very
dying.
prevalent in art.
Yeah.
So many dads.
You know
would
what I
get
hate though
murdered
is
in comedy.
as someone with a dead dad, it sucks when someone's like, my dad's dead to me. It's like, fuck yourself, dude.
Yeah.
How about you pick up the phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Asshole.
Yeah.
My
I'm
father,
sending up one-way prayers, okay? At least yours can respond.
my father wanted to play catch with me.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted
Yeah.
to play Super Nintendo though. It's like,
Right.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a dad. Dads are good.
This is a weird way to segue out of.
Hug your father, everyone. Hug your father.
Hug your father.
So
Unless he holds it too long, and then maybe talk to somebody.
Yeah. Maybe call mom after that one.
Anyway, how often can you get up in Boston? Is it like compared to New York City?
You can get up every night. I mean, you can get up.
Like one place a night though, is can you bounce from club to
You
club?
can bounce. You could do probably like a mic and a show. There's some nights that are Wednesday is a lot. There's a lot of shows Wednesday. You could probably do 3 if you really wanted. Weekends you can bounce from show to show. But Thursday is the show desert, and it always has been, and I don't know why, but it's tough Thursday. Mondays you can do 2. Yeah, you can do 2 shows a night most nights.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Thursday, have people tried to get mics starting
I've
on
tried to do
Thursday?
it.
It's just
show.
that everyone's
Just
an
a
alcoholic,
cursed.
so Thirsty Thursdays they take it very seriously.
I don't know. Maybe everyone's drinking during the week, and they use that
Yeah.
as a day of rest. I have no
I
idea.
guess so. Yeah.
Is that when the mafia is out and about, so no one wants to be?
Do you know anything about Boston?
Yeah, dude,
We don't have a big
mafia
mafia
is very Irish mob is the thing in
Yes.
Boston. Like, come, Peter,
Yes.
watch
I meant the Irish mafia, but it might
mafia
be referred to
is
as
again it's for Italians. Mob is the
right, but mafia
different-
is like a de facto term for just any sort of like mob group. So
You're
it's
canceled,
like,
Pete.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
that's
canceled.
not-
I'm canceled for
can't-
misappropriating
Yeah,
the word
yeah,
mafia.
yeah. You I was gonna say assume the
You
gender of the
mismobbed.
mafia.
You
but that's-
mismobbed them.
Yeah,
I was bored and like over this weekend I did watch like the first hour of The Departed and like fell asleep.
I
So that's
remember
why.
watching when I was a kid. I watched Braveheart in 4 days. I came home from school and for 4 I watched an hour every day. It's so long.
Yeah.
Great movie though. If you do it like that, you really feel pretty good. I would
yeah. You do. My favorite thing is if you watch a movie and you watch the same 20 minutes 3 days in a row, but you just kept turning in at the same time. Like it's on HBO at like
Yeah,
1.
that's funny.
You're like, oh, I guess I'll check HBO. Oh,
Yeah,
good to see
yeah.
the
You're like-
Aquaman's back on again. Terrible movie.
Oh, it's the first 20 minutes of Independence Day. Great.
Oh, love the first one. Give me the first and last 20 minutes of Independence Day any day of the week.
I need the bookends.
Do you end every set with how about them apples and then just drop the mic? Boston. Is that like a law?
Yeah,
Thank you,
is
Sean, for continuing the bit.
Well, you look like you were reading, so I was filling time. That's my job.
Well, I was figuring out the next question.
No, that's
but yeah,
why-
yeah.
that's
Well,
why I
we got
did
some
my-
great orchards. We got some great foliage in Boston.
Yeah.
You'd be retarded not
They
to
don't
look at the
compare-
foliage.
They don't
Oh.
compare to the New York foliage. Them apples.
I
here
don't
in
know,
New
dude.
York.
Actually, I think that like
I
their
think New
foliage
England
is better.
foliage-
We're
is
the
kind of
Big
reputed.
Apple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think New England foliage trumps everyone.
I think maybe I don't know. It's pretty nice all around.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Once you're
foliage
outside
is
of New York
foliage.
City, like the rest of New York's beautiful. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, it's the same area,
this is-
basically.
New York
yeah.
City is just a giant testament to man's hubris.
You got to get out of
Yeah.
here sometimes. You
Right.
got to just, my girlfriend lives in her parents are from New Jersey, so like we'll go to New Jersey. I'm like, this is beautiful, and we're just driving through suburbs, but like
Yeah.
it's something about just looking at chlorophyll that really gets me going.
Yeah.
You should come upstate though. Like get on the Metro North on the Hudson line. You can see like on the New Jersey side all the foliage. It's
Nice.
very
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah, this time of year.
Is this an invite to hang out, or you just want me to independently take a
Yeah,
train ride?
no, I want you to get on a
Well,
train and get the
dude.
fuck out of here.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do something
Yeah.
upstate. There's apple picking.
Yeah,
and other stuff.
Yeah, no, there's apple picking and pumpkin picking.
Yep. All great
all
things
for
for white
Instagram.
culture. We got some great white culture
Listen,
in the
people
fall.
shit on it, but this is our month. God damn it!
It is our month.
October is White People Month.
Yeah.
White People Appreciation
Yeah,
Month.
we get 3 days more than February, and I think that's how it should be.
Hey, sometimes only 2.
Is that true?
Yeah, 29th day of February.
Oh, you're right. Leap
Yeah,
year coming up.
People forget about leap years.
Set your calendars. I thought you meant like October was sometimes 30. I'm like, that's not true.
You don't know.
You're right. I guess I don't know.
You don't know your calendar.
I've never
I'm
looked
the
at-
calendar man.
Peter, you look like you have something relevant to ask.
I do. So
It knocks me
have
like
you-
20 minutes on calendars.
Yeah.
and I like this has been great. You've been a great guest, Zach.
Oh,
I'll say that
well,
right there.
now it's gonna go downhill.
Yeah.
So have you done a lot of shows for college students, considering how many colleges there are in Boston? Like, have you done
Yeah, young
shows
crowds.
for-
There's young crowds
Uh-huh.
in Boston for sure. I did a show at Emerson once, and that
Mm-hmm.
was they were the most empathic crowd. They are. I mean. I mean, you'll hear that. I mean, it's honestly almost a hack opinion to have about colleges now that they're very sensitive. But yeah, I mean, you get. I did the show once I ran the show at Limelight, which is this karaoke bar in Boston, and Fridays would be packed out. You know, with with a bunch of college students and also just a bunch of city dwellers. But yeah, they're pretty young crowds in Boston, I would say.
Yeah. Have you performed in front of a Harvard crowd?
A Harvard crowd?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do like an alum call and response section, so I don't know. I mean, I'm imagining the Comedy Studio, which is in Cambridge, in Harvard Square, used to be in Harvard Square. I bet a ton of Harvard people would go there. Yeah, It's for I mean, it was right there. You could walk there from Harvard.
Right.
And it was a great, like the Comedy Studio is a pretty magical room. I still get like Dan Perlman. Do you guys know that? He's a great New York comic.
I've heard of him.
I think I've heard
He's
of him.
doing his album taping. He's very funny. I don't really know him at all, so I'm just giving him a shout out. But he's super funny. And he sent me, he's trying to get on my show. I run a monthly show in Chelsea, so hit up Rob Pooley for Bill's Bar. But he hit me up, and he's headlined Caroline's, I think. He sent me a tape from the Comedy Studio. Crowds there are, light up on weekend shows. You can get some just kill fests in there. They're
great.
Really, I don't know what it is, but they really foster a great room. So please book me.
Me too. I said all the same things, we just dubbed over Zach.
Yeah.
That's
that was all Sean's opinion.
Yeah,
and
everything's my opinion.
And when did you move to New York again?
I moved to New York in March of 2018.
Okay, nice.
Okay, so relatively new.
Relatively.
So
yeah.
how has your transition been since coming from Boston in terms of comedy? Like, what have you accomplished? What did you start doing when you got here? Since then,
no, that's a fair question.
Why the fuck aren't you on JFL yet? No, it's
What's the difference between New York and Boston comedy really like? That's my morning DJ voice.
Plug in some fart sound effects. Pete, give me the best fart. I bet you. Wow, that was wetter than I thought.
Jeez, that was wet.
Man, if I was wearing glasses, I'd have to wipe those puppies off. I imagine you have like some dry, like real cactus farts. What's your diet like?
Peter takes a little bunny poops. Like that's
I
what
bet you do. Just like 1,000 little balls.
I take shits.
Yeah, you.
That would make sense for me, but no, it's not true.
That's the biggest shit you've ever taken.
You bring your own caution tape to public restrooms because you're gonna have to shut that puppy down.
I literally. This is a true story.
can't
Literally
wait.
2 days ago, I was at a show in Poughkeepsie. Just had to shit really badly.
I get nervous shits before shows.
It wasn't even one of those. I just had to shit, and it just all like one of those out of my butthole. And a very, very pretty woman was standing outside of it because it was
single
person.
Very progressive.
And I just said, "I'm sorry." I'm sorry, but enjoy that, I guess. And
That's a fair thing to say.
Yeah, I gotta.
Good for you for being polite about it. Just
Well,
being
I'm
look,
like, you have to address it. If not, then
Yeah.
she's gonna be like, "That guy took a fucking gross shit."
No, exactly.
But now
Usually I just kind of walk out and like do a sheepish glance, and we both know what happened.
yeah,
You know?
Just
I like to hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
Do you have any pocket Febreze? That's not a thing.
It's not a bad idea though.
Potpourri,
Let's
though,
write that down though. Just
Potpourri.
like
Pocket Febreze.
Pocket for breeze. All
yeah.
right.
That's gonna get
two
patented.
Mike Minimum's patented pocket for breeze.
We've entered the Shark Tank portion of the cast.
Yeah.
That's gonna get patented by.
So no, I mean, I moved here, and I think I heard a lot of advice from a lot of people. This guy that I did a brewery show, I opened for him in Framingham, which is I think the Portuguese capital of Massachusetts. If you want to know anything about Framingham, the ham. We found after the show, an envelope that was like partially torn, said shalom on it, had $100 bill.
Whoa.
And we used that to go out to a nice Mexican restaurant.
Well, I tell you what, there's a poor Timothy whose bar mitzvah was ruined because of it.
Maybe.
honestly.
I'm sure he's reeling it in. I hear you make bank from bar mitzvahs.
Why?
That's where the Jewish wealth starts.
As someone who grew up in a Jewish or like
Are you
a
Jewish?
I'm half Jewish, but like my dad. So my dad's Jewish, but he like forgot about the whole thing after he married
calf.
a goy. Yeah, well, a Protestant.
A prot.
So we
correct.
never
I'm a prot.
practiced, but like I was around like practicing Jewish people all the time where I live. So I went to a lot of bar mitzvahs. So, yeah, because like you invite your whole fucking grade, and they all give you like $100.
Everyone gives
each
$100
because
bucks.
it's, like,
I
it's a
know.
big ceremony. Like you become a man, so they
A man at 13
like
years
all your
old.
family and friends.
You
like,
don't
shell
deserve
up.
that much money for just having a party. They should circumcise you there. And that's why you get $100. Like, I want a show. I want to see pain.
No,
I'm paying for this. This is more expensive than most clubs.
they
I could
had
go
to
to
do
the
it-
cellar for less than $100.
They have to do it at the synagogue in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Being like,
Yeah.
this is how the ceremony has been done for thousands of years.
I'm in on that. Yeah.
I want Danny Trejo to hold up a machete and
Machete.
lop
Then
it off.
Just,
Yeah.
Is that his name, Danny Trejo?
that is Danny Trejo. Yeah.
Okay, good. Whew.
Yeah. No, you got it.
Most bar mitzvahs I went to was just like you go to the synagogue, they do like the prayers, and like their birthday boy or girl reads from the Torah.
Yeah.
And then you and all your other 13-year-old people just go to like some.
Is it a birthday? Is that on your birthday?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh,
your,
I didn't
yeah,
know
it's
that.
like when you turn.
I know exactly. I thought it was just like.
Well, it depends.
In your 13th year.
Well, it depends. Sometimes people do it on their birthday. Sometimes they do it later in the year. But
I've
but
never
usually,
been to a bar mitzvah. I
usually-
have one of my best friends is Jewish.
Yeah.
I didn't get the invite.
Well, the only thing better than a bar mitzvah though is a Jewish wedding. Those things are fucking lit.
Damn.
I won't lie.
They must have hated you if you weren't invited. Because
I guess,
the ones
maybe
I've gone
this
to,
rich
they've
vibe not
invited
working out.
everyone.
Oh yeah, no. I there was one kid who didn't invite me to his bar mitzvah. I felt very. It was literally everybody but me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck did I do to you?
Yeah.
It's a version of a hate crime.
I think so.
It's a reverse hate crime.
I drew a few swastikas in the bathroom. Whatever.
Yeah.
but that was after.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
retaliatory.
Yeah, that was yeah.
So
Everyone did it back then.
Yeah, exactly. It was the cool
I
thing
was
to
doing
do.
the Hindu symbol for peace.
Yeah, I did
That's
the
true.
reverse. Yeah, not,
Yeah.
It's
If
left.
you tilt your head 45 degrees, it's
yeah,
not offensive.
Yeah,
That's right.
counterclockwise is racist. Clockwise is not racist.
When you were in elementary school, like when you had birthday parties as a kid, would you like you'd invite your whole grade, right? Like when you're in third grade, or
my mom would be limited to like 15 to 17.
what about you, Sean?
But we'd do it big.
We just invited my friends.
We'd do it big though.
I think when I was like in third grade, it would be like everyone who was in my class would come.
It sounds like your
Yeah.
mom is whoring you out for friends. She's
Yeah, your
like, I'm
mom's
just gonna
like-
cast a wide net. Hopefully,
Your mom's
Pete hits
like,
it off.
all right, his actual friend's parents suck asshole. Let's see if I can make some myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you have kids though. Like your friends are now just whoever your kid picks as a like their friend.
It's
their
a gamble.
parents.
It's a
like, you're
it's a roll of the
fuck,
dice.
Please,
It is
please,
sad though. Like
please
when
smoke
you,
pot.
When
Like
you think about like the weekend for parents, like think about like how when you're like, okay, I'm going out, bye dad, and like you just think back what they're doing, like, oh, they're just home reading. Like that's their weekend.
I don't feel the thing
It's
about
just-
dads is like dads. This is why dads die all the time. Dads have no friends.
Oh, yeah, no.
Exactly.
Who is your dad friends with?
They're not. They have no one.
Yeah.
My
to
dad
go
would
to.
play poker every like bi-weekly
himself?
in the neighborhood. He would
Yeah.
play solitaire poker and he'd lose every time.
Yeah.
Like how many times do you hear of your parents like going out to see friends?
Dude, my mom has her
Never.
ladies, but
Yeah.
the dad.
my mom had my dad like like all of his friends moved to Florida and like now that he's retired and he doesn't care about his kids anymore, he's hanging out with them. He just went on a week-long golf trip. I'm like, that I guess
That's great.
I guess it's like there's like a 30-year gap where like
But dads
I'll
put their
see you
lives
then.
on hold.
Yeah.
Dads can be just monstrous in terms of their dedication to their family.
Yeah, that's why my favorite Jim Gaffigan joke of all time is him just describing taking your kids to Disney World as a dad. And he's just like, this is why my dad was mad all the time. I spent a shit ton of
That's
money.
great.
And these kids are just angry that we're supposed to
Yeah.
have the joyous place on earth.
Yeah.
Man.
And I'm like, that makes
Oh my
sense.
god, dude! Anytime, if I would take my kids, not that I have, kids,
Yeah.
but if I have kids and if I take them anywhere, I'm gonna be like, you better be fucking thrilled that we're at Cheesecake Factory right now. You're
Yeah.
ordering pasta.
That's
I could make this at home for a 2
yeah.
cents.
Same thing with like the original National Lampoon's Vacation with Chevy Chase, when it's just a road trip of him just wanting to give his family a good time, and he just loses his fucking shit because it's just like, I just want everybody to be fucking happy.
Yeah.
I have nothing else going on. And I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Sorry, Pete, we're off the rails here. But
yeah,
here's,
so we're back
here's,
to-
here's,
back to
here's what I've
parents.
made. Of,
We've hit most of the topics, right?
Well, yeah, we're back to.
I wrote
what
down
you-
some notes too. I could pull from
Yeah.
those.
Well, I was asking you what you've been
What have
doing
I
in New
done?
York City.
So
yeah.
I got a lot of advice, and this goes back to the Shalom thing. So I did this show at this brewery show in Framingham with this guy Brett Druck. He's a funny comedian. I think he opens and features for Steve Hofstetter.
Yeah, no, I've seen him perform.
Yeah. So he and I've heard this advice from a lot of people, and at first I'm like, this guy's an idiot, but he's right though. You shouldn't just kill yourself at the mics. Like mics can at times be a waste of time. Like you can get more out of going to a show, watching a show, meeting other comics. You know, you don't want to get stuck in the mic scene, which is never really something that happens in Boston. It's not like
Right.
people just do mics. It's like, I mean, I guess some people do, but it's weird because you can get just stuck there and just become a mic hero versus. So I've tried to be. You looked at him like he's a mic hero.
No, I was just like I was just thinking about someone posted in like the San Antonio comedy group being like, "Oh, I'm doing an open mic, but I need like it's for pro comics only, and then someone commented saying like a
Yikes.
pro comic or a pro open mic comic.
That's great.
And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's,
There are
there's a
differences.
difference. But yeah, anyway, moving on.
So, yeah, I mean, trying to do like a mic and go to a show or hang at a show every night. I mean, that's the ideal. I've just barked for a few people, which I know barking has a bit of a stench on it. I was telling Pete before you got here, there was a New York Times reporter at the Grizzly Pear yesterday who was interviewing barkers and stuff. And I was like, don't use my name. Like, I'll give you some information,
It's
but
just a false
please.
name.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to know this.
Yeah.
A lot of
So-
things, but barking, it works.
No,
Like,
that's the thing, though. That's the
yeah.
thing. I feel like when you're like, I'm doing independent shows and stuff, but also why not? I've gotten shows off of the sets that I do, barking sets, and they're good audiences. If you got a packed out Friday night, I mean, you make a decent amount of money, you get a good audience. So like, I get that there's this stigma with it, but I have been barking, and it's decent stage time. Even gotten some tapes from it.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. And the tapes you have are beautiful.
Oh, Pete,
Yeah.
it's
It's like-
Sean.
no,
did
it's
you
like-
leave us alone.
No, I did for an hour. I don't know what you guys did.
That's true.
Listen,
We
I
put
gotta
on more
prepare.
clothes.
I gotta prepare for but like think about like you gotta get in front of real audiences as soon as
Yeah,
possible.
you
Like
do.
that's like the one thing I tell anyone who wants to get into comedy is just like as soon as you're ready to do a show, fucking do it. As soon as you're offered
Yes.
to do a show, fucking do
Yes,
it
and
because you'll realize like wow, this audience is responding differently than these 10 jaded comics don't care about.
Hundo Pete.
I
Hundo
also
Pete.
think there's
Yeah.
a thing of just that trial by fire, man. Just like,
Yeah.
like you can like, there's a certain point you hang out with people enough, you're gonna be able to make them laugh because they become your friends. Like getting a fucking just random stranger to laugh their fucking ass off, like that's what this is fucking about. Like,
And I don't know if this is a hot take or this has been said before, but I feel like barked in audiences, especially the Pear, Greenwich Village, the Lantern, any of those clubs, they are the closest you'll get to a universal like international like road room. They're
Yeah.
just random people. They don't necessarily have an expectation about comedy. They're not comedy snobs necessarily. They might be fans. That maybe is why they agreed to go into the show. But they're from everywhere. They're from fucking tons of Australians.
there are a lot of
England,
Aussies in the village.
Midwest, people traveling from Ohio, Florida. So you get a good, diverse crowd and
Of white people, yeah.
of white people. That is such a hack joke for non-white comics. Like you guys, what a diverse group of
No,
white people.
no,
I'm
honestly,
like, come on, man.
The one thing I hate more than like people
I should do that in a
complaining
black
about-
room. I should
Yeah.
do what a diverse group of black folks.
Oh, I did.
That would be crazy.
I did a room of all non-white people before.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, oh, I'm the minority here. This feels great.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. It was a room full of nothing but Muslim Americans. I'm like, oh,
Really?
Yeah.
And
What
Tom
show
was
is
just
that?
like, I feel better than everyone here.
I'm like, look at my privilege on display. That was Muhammad Gay.
I've heard of him. Is that
he-
Marvin Gaye's
Yeah, it's his
conversion name?
Yeah, it's this guy. He converted the.
That's such a weird name.
Marvin Gaye
Muhammad
didn't
Gaye.
die. Marvin Gaye became
yeah.
Muslim.
Guy puts on
I'm
a
pretty
show.
sure their religion hates
He has
gay
a show over in
people.
Williamsburg. He runs a couple mics and stuff too.
Okay.
but
I've heard of
he was
him.
actually on my comic strip auditions. How we met.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. He was. I did Broadway with him. Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't tell me though, like what the show was gonna be because it was like a kind of like we put on a show, but it's a meet and greet for people who are new to the city, but it's
Yeah.
all Muslim Americans.
Cool.
And it's like I wouldn't care. It was like I just got there. I'm like, what's different about this than usual? Oh, I'm the only white person
Yeah.
for like 10 miles. This is the first time this has ever happened to me.
It just, but it just would be nice to have a heads up, just in the same way that you'd like to know anything about a room.
Yeah.
You're like, are these people rowdy? Are these people like quiet and easily offended? Are are these people from a different background than me? It's just not whatever intel you
Yeah.
can get. It's nice.
It's like I help run a room at the White Plains, and one of the comedians comes like, "Hey, what's the room like tonight?" Well, it's old Jews and slightly older Jews. Like
Yeah,
those-
yeah,
those
yeah.
two-
That's going to
your
be
ta-
Westchester for you. That and
Yeah.
Italians.
Yeah.
Like those
it's
crowds
Italians
over
and
there.
old Jews are the ones who love Westchester
Yeah,
comedy.
which is why when Ali Colbert did her set there, when she like talked
That's who I was
about when she
referencing.
talked, I mean, she's tiny and like
She's
looks,
like
she
this
looks like
big.
she's 12 years old, even though she's like 26.
I may have seen it. Does she have glasses?
No.
She was.
Alright.
She's been on Tonight
Saw
Show.
a different little
She was
person.
on Fallon. Yeah, she was on
That's the Tonight Show.
Jimmy. I forget all the titles. Of
I do
all of
too.
them.
I just
So
say
it's
their
like,
names.
They're all not good.
yeah, I just say
so
their
She's on
names,
carpool
so it's like-
karaoke.
But no, but the first comic who went up like had a hard time like breaking the room. But as soon as she went up, like the first joke she did was talking about like I know I look like I'm about to be bar mitzvahed or something, and that
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
broke the room because
Nice.
like they all seemed like people who were at like a bar bat mitzvah.
I
at
wouldn't have
one point
laughed.
in
I
their
didn't get
life.
it. I wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would have. I was like, oh, cool, yeah, because she was terrified going up because that crowd was just. It was like it's hard breaking that crowd in the
They were
very
like,
beginning.
it's too cold.
Yeah.
It's too cold. It's like it's 74 degrees in here. Like it's literally cannot be warm.
I can't see.
It's like stages. Yeah, they are. I just
No, it's like they complain about like a pillar.
They
That's
complained about
they complain.
everything.
I hate
Yeah.
seating people in that room. It's so.
Oh, trust me. I know that I'm. As we decided, my title's now the generic manager there. Frank's the general manager. I'm the generic when he's not there. I just. deal with
I mean,
people.
yeah, you can stand up to people. I can't. It's just like
Well,
but
yeah.
all they have to do is blow on me, and I'll
He's got that bully energy.
I do. Like, listen,
Big bully energy.
I do have big bully energy.
yeah.
Small penis though.
Small
Very-
penis,
just
yeah.
very-
I got the bigger dick.
Small penis
I
intellect.
probably
That's
do
like-
actually. Yeah.
That would. I think that.
That's
would make
always how it
sense.
works, dude.
Yeah.
The tall, lanky dudes just
Oh, yeah, well,
swinging.
it's just gravity that lets it hang. You know,
You think?
I might have a bigger dick. If I just lose the fat, like it'll grow out more. But like
Sure.
as of right now, it's just.
I love it. I love the David Tell joke. He's like, "Do I have a really tiny dick or just giant legs?"
It's true.
He's great. But
That's great.
I mean, another thing that I've done. I don't know if you guys have done this, but moving to the city, you're looking for any opportunity. I'm trying to especially get in at clubs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, two things. Obviously, just fucking go to shows, network, and reach out to people. Like, don't be afraid to just send them a tape, and you might not hear back for 3 months, but just who cares? Who cares? Just that's one thing that I didn't do. The studio actually they relocated. So in Boston they were this great room and this like classic room that you'll see a lot of tapes from. And then they had a hiatus where they were moving to Somerville from Cambridge, like a mile down. It's a great room. It's awesome. But they had a hiatus. And so when I first started, do you guys know Nick Thune?
Yes. I
So
love
Nick
Thune.
Thune, I heard him say this
It's
on a
actually at
podcast.
Eastville next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just
I heard him say this on a podcast where he had this red jacket set or something, and he's like, "You can only be seen first once." So I took as an amateur like open micer. I'm like, he's right. I can't put myself out there until I'm ready. So I never reached out to the studio until I was like 2.5, 3 years in, even though I could have been, reaching out for spots there a year and a half in, so I think that's something that good comics can fall into. Not, whatever, but
not us.
No, but I know like I'll shout him out. Nate Davis, very funny comic. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves in Boston. I think he's very funny. I messaged him once. I think I was high one night. I'm like, "You're funny, dude."
Nothing quite like a weird 3 a.m. DM from a comic you met one time for 10 seconds.
No, but I mean, some people just don't. You got to put yourself out there. You're your only chief marketing officer. That's
Yeah.
all you have.
Yeah.
No one's representing you but
Yeah.
yourself. So
I've started messaging clubs, like offering because I do photography too for a lot of shows and
Sure.
stuff. And
That's a good in.
My idea was like, hey, I'll just do some shots for spots. Like I'll shoot your entire show, give me a 5-minute guest spot.
I love that.
And West Side just gave me a definitive no with a period. I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like,
They were like, we want to make sure this person gets it.
I
No.
respect that actually.
Yeah.
No with a period is brutal.
I was just like, okay, all right, fine.
Was it undercase or uppercase?
uppercase and lowercase o? Period.
That's an intern who's so sick of people DMing
You're
that
right,
page.
dude, that
they're
is an
just like,
intern,
they're just
yeah,
like, I don't
that's-
want to come up with like a paragraph on
But
why.
I'd rather be left
That's
in
a good,
red.
I'm going to
Yeah.
parlay that, if you will,
Yeah,
Peter.
go for
into-
it.
See?
Make
this.
fun of me on my own podcast.
No,
Keep going.
but like other avenues, like doing the industry room. You see that advertisement all the time on free mics. You have to bring, I don't know, you give this club a
I
collective
see some-
$300
Dude, I
by the
fucking
people you bring, but
see-
it's good stage
Right.
time. You get a tape, you can get spots. I got spots from it.
Have I seen your dumb face on free mics then? like this person got passed in the
No,
industry room.
he sent it to me privately, but he didn't put it on free mics. I was actually kind of hoping. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want
It's like I always hate it when like I see someone like who bombs at an open mic and also just like rubs me the wrong way, and then I see them on
see
free
their face
mics
for a
yeah.
month. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like fucking get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
but I mean, or like I hear that taking a class. I forget which club. Like I think it's New York Comedy Club. You take a class. It's basically just like pay them $400 and you get an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and also like UCB
Probably should pay them
is just, like,
$400.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
That's
UCB, great way to network too. Just like if you want to take classes and network.
My girlfriend
you know?
is in the UCB Academy, so she's done 1 through 4, and
Oh, so
she
she's
does
like a
improv.
cult leader at this point, right?
She's a cult leader. She's very good. She's very funny
I
improviser.
Improv's very impressive. It's just-
Yeah.
It's not for me.
No, like I mean, when you see people who are really good at
Oh,
it, it
boy.
astounds
It is
me.
so
like
fun.
people who like are really good at it, and you watch them, and you every moment in that scene, they always have the perfect joke or segue, and it's amazing.
I think
Like,
great
how-
improv is
yeah.
what stand-ups wish they could be.
Exactly. No, that's 100% true. Like right on the money, right there. Like I auditioned for 2 improv troupes, once at my old college and then once at the college I transferred to, and I could actually always tell who got it because it was always the guy who was able to like. You always knew what the funniest thing would be at every moment in the scene. It was
Yeah.
like, motherfucker, I wish I could do that.
That's why I couldn't do
Yeah.
that because I couldn't let somebody else be the funniest one in the scene. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, you got to be a good
Also,
supporter.
because it was like, all right, everybody, we're getting in a car. I'd be like, this is fucking stupid. Why the fuck are we doing this?
yeah, that's why you do stand-up because you
Yeah.
want to drive. You
Yeah,
know, I don't want to be the
I-
passenger in this
Yeah.
imaginary
Because
vehicle.
I would be like midway through, I'm like, this is dumb. Let me just talk to the audience.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're like, hey guys, I know this is so stupid.
Hey,
Yeah.
are any of you on Tinder?
Yeah,
Sean, we're underwater.
Oh, I think that'd be a funny sketch. Like if just like it's an improv troupe, but one guy decides to quit.
do stand-up.
He starts doing stand-up in the middle.
He
of
starts working the crowd.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just been a reality. I feel
Yeah.
like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
just people like remember the Mike Birbiglia movie? What was it called? Don't think twice.
Yeah,
Where like
Jinx.
where it just showed all the drama between like the improv troupe being like, oh, you just want to stage to yourself, don't you?
Yeah,
You
And I'm
know?
like, I feel like that hit home to a lot of people.
It's funny. My
Yeah.
girlfriend won't watch that movie because she doesn't want to get like tainted by the potential like taboos and stuff in improv, which I respect. She's trying to keep herself out of it.
From my knowledge of listening
Honestly-
to podcasts about improv, it's usually just a lot of people fuck each other and then fuck each other over.
And
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
super fair.
that seems like what the running theme throughout it.
I met my girlfriend in the improv group I was in college.
yeah, see,
Yeah.
See, you fuck. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
No,
you're
honestly,
like,
you just
hey, would you want to go on a date with? I'm doing improv.
He's doing hand motions. He's
Yeah.
doing Italian. You're a guinea. You're
No,
Italian.
you do not use that fucking word in my fucking house.
We've done 2 scenes so far on this podcast. Actually,
Is
one
this-
of them I cut because it was just so stupid. And I
No,
said
I'm
like, oh,
sorry.
maybe if we do a Patreon, I'll make it like a Patreon.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, no, we're not.
You know,
doing that.
several times during this podcast, I've checked my mic to make sure it's on. So I think we're okay. I think
Yeah.
we're doing all
Well,
right.
Sean has the
I
yeah.
measure the levels at all times.
It's a light man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of these sessions, I want like one of these sessions when we do a really good recording session, I want to just be like, fuck, man.
That happens.
No,
That
didn't-
happens.
It
We
happened
didn't-
one time when the batteries died and we lost 15 minutes in San Antonio.
Right. But
That-
that wasn't so bad. I just want to get like a banger.
I
of
want
an
like
interview.
an hour, like we get Bill Burr on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just-
exactly. And it's just like the
Hey,
best.
what you guys doing?
And the only audio we get is just me and him talking, but not Bill. Like you hear him at the
It's just
friendly
you
in the
laughing.
yeah,
I just want to do it as a prank, being like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
And then have them freak out.
yeah.
Oh
No,
no.
I don't think they'd freak out. I'd be fucking freaking out.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, they'd be like, all right, well, I guess.
Right.
I feel like most people when they come on, they get like, I don't fucking care.
I feel like most guests on this podcast have been doing us a favor.
This
Yeah.
is my first legit podcast
Oh,
outside of that
shit.
van when we were all very. I mean, we
Yeah.
were like people were drunk and high. Not the driver, but well, he might have smoked.
Is it-
Maybe, but everyone. I mean, we were talking into phones with pop sockets on,
Yeah.
and then we sang. We did like we did Christian. We did their improvisers in the car. We did an improvised Christian rock song about a pro-life Christian rock song, which is pretty fun actually.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. It was like Nickelback with pro-life lyrics.
Hell yeah.
Which I did like.
Look
that.
at this.
Fetus.
No.
Yeah, it was
Look
similar
at
to
this
that. It's the
sonogram.
Yeah.
Oh, there
It was,
we
look
go,
at this
there we
sonogram.
go.
Yep.
That was what it was.
That
That's what
was-
started it.
yeah.
Yeah.
His feet are kicking. It makes me laugh.
That's right. That's right. Could you imagine having a thing inside of you, like a person?
I've had some things inside me.
I bet you have.
and they
Whoa.
were people.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what half the population does? It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Women have such a hard life. It's like really
Yeah.
tough.
No, it
I'm not
is.
being like it is hard.
like yeah.
You
because, like,
bleed all the time, and then you have to give birth.
You bleed
and then,
every month for 45 years.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then every dude's just like, let me just fucking come in you real
Yeah.
quick. Just let me come in you.
Stick it in.
and you have pressure to have a kid.
Yeah.
that needs to be the first huge revolution for women. Is elongating
having
the clock.
kids.
Is stop having kids. Yeah,
I'm on the reverse. I think women should just get it over with early. And then just
donate them.
Just donate the kids.
Just donate the kids. Donate them to where would they donate?
Can I
them
tell
to?
you guys this?
1-800 kids for cars.
Be crazy. Do you think like
No one would do that
do you
trade.
think other
No.
countries can adopt American babies?
That's a good question.
Do you think like there's like an agency in like I don't know Berlin? It's like you want an American baby.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, all right, this is bad. But this is a true thing. We'll get to yours, but like most people only want white babies. So probably.
Well,
That's a
Asian
fact.
babies are hot. Asian
Well,
babies are
there's
hot.
so many of them. It's like, you go to Costco, you buy in bulk.
what?
No, that made sense.
No, because no one adopts 6 Asian babies.
Somebody-
That makes it sound like if you
All
adopt,
right.
the more Asian babies you adopt, the cheaper they are.
Oh, now I get it. But,
Yeah, that was
all
the
right.
joke.
I mean, it
Sure.
still doesn't make
All right,
sense.
but
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, there's just a lot of them.
No, but I hear you. But I actually feel bad when a white family adopts an Asian baby because I had a lot of Asian friends who were,
Yeah.
and I went over to their homes. I'm like, Cheryl, what are you doing? like what is this?
It's just some person doing yoga.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
it's
It's like, well, I guess that's Asian, but you're white.
Mom, I'm home.
Yeah.
Just like,
so,
oh.
but I always like white parents are so much more forgiving and they really push their kids less than Asian parents generally. So I feel like if an Asian kid goes to a white parent, they're probably not going to be as successful as a person. You know what I mean? But if an Asian family adopts a white kid,
that kid's gonna be-
Zuckerberg, you got the next Zuckerberg right there.
Explains why he married an
Tiger
Asian
mom
woman.
with white privilege? Are you kidding me?
We-
That's
we
a
need-
recipe for success.
So
Yeah.
yes, have babies and donate them to China. Just have your.
yeah,
This podcast
no,
went
because
weird.
then we'll.
I fucking love it, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to shape the world.
It's okay.
Yeah.
No one's listening in China. We made sure
Not
last
yet.
episode we get.
Oh yeah,
canceled
no,
in
last
China.
episode we got
I don't think
canceled
you guys
in
are
China.
indexed on Baidu. Yeah, that's their Google.
Yeah.
But no, so have you guys had? Do you guys have like a real rough like open mic experience where someone really heckled you? Because I do in Boston.
I don't, because everyone gets, if I actually yell at them, they get scared.
Well, this guy yelled at me. So I was doing a joke. I don't know why, but I think it's very interesting. But I would focus a lot when I started out on race, which is weird.
Smart.
It is smart. I think it's,
in a
it's
town
what the
full
people
of white
want.
people.
Yeah, but I mean, it's I just interesting because it's something that's so pervasive in everyone's lives that you have no control over. So I
Yeah.
just think that's inherently interesting. So I would talk about, and I would do this joke where, and I actually think it's a premise that's been done before, so I don't even do it anymore. But it was like when my mom and I are at a restaurant. I like to play this game where when she's trying to describe someone that I don't see, I'll count the number of adjectives she uses before she says they're black.
I like that.
And it's
Yeah.
usually 3 or something. And then she just whispers, she's like, he's black. And I'm like, I think you knew that already. Like, you don't need to keep this information. from
Yeah.
him, you know? So I did that, and it's it's whatever. It would go well sometimes, it wouldn't other times. But this time, I was at King's, which is a bowling alley that's also has a side lounge, and it's very chic. It has like black leather, like with a pockmark booths, and everything that's not black is like red, low dim lighting. They would have like wedding band showcases before the open mic, and they were some great bands. But so the mic was a cool vibe, but there was such a big room. It was like a lounge, so you really knew you were doing well when people would turn around in the booths. Because like half the people have their backs to you. So I'm doing the set, and this black guy had turned around, and I did that joke, but it wasn't because he was interested in my material. I like kept going for a little bit, and then he stood up and yelled, like, this is exactly what he yelled: "Sit your ass down!" Like full chest, like sit your ass down.
Yeah.
And
was,
I did.
Like, was he big? Or?
He was mid-sized.
Okay.
He was
Just
a
a regular-
sedan. He was a sedan of a man.
just a deep black voice.
And this was
Yeah.
this was right after you did that joke.
And he was in the wedding band showcase before me, and he was so fucking good. He sounded like he did a Marvin Gaye cover song.
Oh, nice.
Damn.
He was amazing at piano. He was so talented, and he's yelling at me. So I got down, and he came over, and he did that thing where, you know, when people run up to you after, or you just move during a show when a show is going on, where they do like that goblin sprint.
Yeah.
The crouch sprint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like they don't draw attention, which only draws more attention.
Yeah,
you look like a gerbil.
If you just walk, it'd be way better.
Yeah, you should really
So after
walk.
he screamed that, you just got off stage.
I said, yeah, I was
You're
so.
just like, I voted for Obama, and then
that would have been the best response.
Yeah.
That would have been a good response. I shit, if I could go back in time. But so I was like 6 to 9 months in. I had no idea what to do with this.
Right.
And I
That
was
would've
like
been-
scared. I wasn't scared. I was scared because like this guy was yelling at me, and I was also like hurt because I'm like, oh shit, I've done the opposite of what I came here to do. I'm not trying to offend. I'm just trying to make you laugh. So I was like, oh man, I not only bombed, but I like hurt someone's feelings. So I felt really bad. And he ran up to me and he started really getting close and poking my chest and everything. And he smelled amazing, if I can say that. He smelled so. I'm like, should I lean in? Let's do this.
Yeah.
So he was poking me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I don't know your perspective. I'm really. I maybe shouldn't talk about that. And he said this to me verbatim. He's like, it's not about perspective. It's about the facts. Do you remember the 3/5 compromise? And I'm like, do you? How old are you? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And we just went on this debate, and we went outside and we kept talking about it. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, at this point, I'm getting a little frustrated. I'm like,
he comes out of the door. He's your roommate now.
yeah, he's my roommate. We patched
becomes
things
your
up.
friend. Yeah.
You're still fighting.
Yeah. That's why I'm sitting right now.
Yeah.
I never stand in front of black people. I sit my ass down because I know my place.
Yeah.
But
It'd be funny if you just came up and be like, nah, man, that's not how
that's
it
not
went.
how it went down. No. So again, he kept and there was, so we're outside and he's standing on this like stoop. So now he's literally talking down to me. He's above me.
Mm-hmm.
And at no point am I like, you're wrong. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I offended you. Like, I apologize. And he just kept going. And at one point I did say, like, I've done the joke in front of like comics who are black. No one said anything. Like, I've asked them, they said it's fine. You know what I mean? Which is, I don't know if that's okay to say, but he was like, he's like, what about this? Bill Cosby. He's like, Bill Cosby raped people. And you're only hearing about it 30 years later. I'm like, what? Do you think
are you talking
Do you think
about?
I'm going to tell this joke for 30 years and then I'm going to end up on late night?
Well, so
Yeah.
far I'm really confused on what his argument was.
I don't
like-
know. Dude. He was
like-
just mad and he needed to get it out.
He just heard a white guy say black, and they're like, well, here I go.
No, but I think that was the thing. Is because at Mike's, not everyone's listening to every word. So I think at
Right.
some, I had said like my mom's like accidentally racist sometimes. I said black a few times, and then I did some jokes where like she's describing the guy or whoever I can't see, and she's like, he has kids, they look just like him, but just because they're related, you know what I mean? Just like silly little things.
Yeah.
And I think he started catching those little tags and was like, this guy is not doing a good thing up here. So he thought he was doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And it was just a very traumatic experience for me. I have footage of it somewhere. I should dig it up.
It's fun.
Wait, you recorded like just what, him, or you just your phone
No.
was...
The host of the mic,
Was
Angela
just shooting
Sawyer.
it.
Oh, I see.
The host of the mic would record sets and like send them to you, and it was brutal.
That's something you should release like when you're bigger. Just be
No,
like-
I would never.
No,
yeah.
like
Well, no, it's just like oh, this happened to me once. I think about that sometimes, just being like, oh, here's some shitty thing I did for all you people who are bored with what I do now.
Right.
You know.
if I ever get a big opportunity,
Or
like,
if I quit comedy, I'll
yeah,
post
if
it.
I get like
True.
a late night spot somewhere like on TV, first thing I'm doing is deleting every podcast I've ever done.
Right.
Like that's just like I'm not gonna even risk it.
I listened to this podcast in prep, and I heard you say that. But do you say that every episode?
Yeah, I'm always like, we're gonna delete this every week.
No, we will make you cancel proof. We will delete your episode if you get a big thing in
Yeah,
case
if you're-
someone
if
wants
you're-
to dig
that's
through
a
it.
new
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like,
a new.
yeah, like,
that's
no.
a new like agent.
Right.
Yeah,
job.
just the guy who scrolls
Makes you
to the
cancel
bottom
proof.
of your Twitter feeds like, we're taking
Yeah.
everything out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just-
Exactly.
yeah, that's why are people still on
I think we're
Twitter?
creating jobs.
It is like it's a gig economy. So.
Yeah.
It's a gig economy. Yeah.
I'll comb through your Twitter for $100.
You could definitely
an hour.
hire a TaskRabbit guy to delete any tweet.
definitely.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
delete-
you can hire me. I need
delete-
money.
Yeah, he'd TaskRabbit.
Go through my 10,000 tweets and retweets and find the shit that's gonna get me in trouble.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
gonna ruin my life? Do you have any
But-
more pressing questions?
But
Yeah.
anyway, finishing up, I just want to ask you. So you mentioned one comic who I forgot the name of already, who's really good in Boston. What was the
Yeah.
name again?
I mentioned a few, like a pro comic.
Yeah, like who's funny in Boston right now? Who do you have to see in Boston?
Sure.
Right now?
Yeah. I mean, I think Will Noonan's super. I think he was voted like the best of like funniest comic in Boston in 2018. Dan Crone's super funny. Corey Rodriguez is a straight up killer. He's amazing. He's done Conan. He did Conan recently. That was great. Kelly McFarlane's a beast. I'm gonna forget. Oh, Dan Bulger is super funny. Dan's one of those people. Like Dan, I think lived with like Joe List and Tom Dustin moved to Florida, but he's a funny guy too.
Florida.
Florida, yeah.
To do comedy.
Yeah, dude. He like started a club. I think he's doing real well.
Where in Florida?
He loves it. Boca? No, not Boca.
Boca Raton. That's
I don't even know where Boca is.
It's near
it's
near
near Miami, I believe. Yeah, it's like
Yummy,
south of
yummy.
Miami, I do
Yeah.
believe.
The Lauderdale. It's near Lauderdale. But in terms of like comics who are like, my level or a bit above, Jonathan Tilson's moving here. He's super funny. Big fan of Johnny Tills. Chris Kinback, Kendra Landsberg. These are all comics who are like, 4 to 6 years in.
Nice.
That are solid. That I'd give Liam McGurk, hilarious. I'm gonna forget the people, and they're gonna be mad, but.
Nice.
You know what?
Check them out.
Check
if you're
them
ever in
out.
the
Check them
Boston
out.
area, follow them on Twitter.
And I have
follow
I don't know. We can do plugs at the end.
Well,
no,
this
we're
the
like-
end?
we
we're
were
like
getting
at
towards the end.
Yeah, we're like
okay.
at the end.
You have any like one last thing you want to talk about?
I don't have any other notes. No.
No,
I got nothing.
Right, He
This
came
guy
prepared.
this guy came prepared.
I
with
came
No one
Notes.
else has ever
Notes,
come. I don't-
buddy.
He's come more prepared than I did.
more prepared than
He showed up on
I.
time.
Came on time.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could. I don't think I got nothing else. I got nothing else
Okay,
for you
cool.
guys.
yeah. All right, thank you.
Here's
Well,
some,
again, Zach Russell. If you want to see him and you live in Cleveland for
Yeah,
some
baby,
reason,
the
or you want
Akron.
to, if you live in Ohio or you're going to be in Ohio, you can check him out at the Cleveland Comedy Festival happening November 13th and 16th. And
can I do the Instagram and Twitters?
Yep,
Yeah,
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 You can plug your-
Instagram at Zach Russell Comedy and Instagram Russell 2_mania. Russell Mania.
WrestleMania.
And,
Russell. Oh, I like that.
That's it's all right. And
I like
I run a monthly show in Chelsea at Offside Tavern. So if you guys
nice.
if anyone wants to swing by,
I'll come by.
love to
Hell
have you.
yeah.
Give me the old follow on the IG.
Ooh, baby.
Thank you so much for having us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
We hope to
hang
see
out
you
even more.
around.
Now we've met you and we're close by-ish, unless I have to drive in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Follow me at BigBarry63 on Instagram. Follow my other podcast, the Big Barry Podcast, on Instagram.
You just type in my name on Twitter and Instagram. I hate doing
What
the
a
whole
lazy
spiel.
sack
It's
of
like,
shit.
Just say it.
it's Westchester Woke Boy on Instagram.
You
I'm trying
should
to
change
change
it. You gotta change it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
That joke-
embarrassed to say your handle, that's probably
It
the
was
handle's
fun
fault.
at the time.
It was funny for
It
like
was
a
fun
week.
at the time.
Yeah.
And it's dead.
But you can type in my full name on Twitter and Instagram.
I think that's what
Find
Shane
me.
Gillis said. Fun at the time.
Hey, I'm pushing boundaries with my Instagram.
Yeah.
alright? But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Anyway, I've been Peter Clark Deutsch.
I've been Sean Barry.
And
You've
see
been
you
listening.
next week.
All right.